Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you all for having us. My name is Karen Youngberg. I am the fancy title is the Associate Director of Education at Werklund Centre. I am a multidisciplinary artist and actually a stage manager by trade.
Thank you. My name is Paula, Timm, and I work with Karen here at the Werklund Centre. My title is Arts Education Specialist. And I get to work with kids and teaching artists and teachers and a whole bunch of really talented people in this building.
Well, or what kind of artist are you?
I'm a visual artist. I love collaboration art. So it might be a mural or something that we can build together. I love creativity and helping people find that.
Amazing. So I know that you are midway through your journey of what is aesthetic education. Is that right? You're kind of in the middle of it, of what is this? So I am actually really curious to know what has surprised you. You're midway. What's surprising to you right now?
Everything.
Tell us more about everything. Why is it surprising?
No, it's very difficult because there is a lot of connections and layers. And when you find one and you understand how it works, how it connects with the others, you get surprised, no? And it's very difficult to explain because it's difficult to, if you are not living the process, it's very difficult to explain to somebody else. Because even in your brain is not clear. And I hope in the end, I hope in 3 months more, maybe we can find all the connections. But for the moment, for me, it's not possible. But I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, I really connect to all the layers. And how do you get deep in a short amount of time? Because the possibilities are endless. Yeah. Any other, Brenda? Yeah.
Yes, well, I agree with Paul. I think we are still figuring it out how this works, but yes, I agree. The way of observing everything is like, yes, it's different. I am paying more attention to every detail, the way I think, the way I process information, and the way I make analysis and all this stuff. I think it has changed. And the way I'm connecting with people.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yes, the way we can create this sense of community, and also my process of creating. Yes, it's different. It's
How is it different?
For example, last week I was trying to draw, but it changed because I started dancing. Listening to music. So I was paying attention what I'm feeling right now. I'm feeling happiness. I am feeling blue. I am feeling red. So I was playing with that sensation in my body, and I tried to translate it to a drawing. So
Wow.
it was the first time it happened this way. So it's new.
So much joy, or it sounds like there's joy in the
Yes.
experiencing.
Yes.
Absolutely. Anyone else have any other surprises? And I can talk a little bit about our work. So here at the Werklund Centre, well, even in my own practice, we try to awaken the students. I don't know, I want to say soul, awaken their aliveness, awaken their senses into being, into space. And we do that through a bunch of different ways. I look at out to my left, there's a window, but the students get dropped off. And the moment they exit the bus, they are given an oil pastel. And as they walk up the stairs, they're asked just to draw a line as they enter the space. So they know that the ritual of how they enter into the building, they're leaving their mark for others to see. And they do that also on their way out. So the students are always invited to leave a mark and to experience different mediums and what that is like. Anything to add?
Yeah, I think the thing that was interesting that Karen was saying is the provoking of that inner voice is something that we're really interested in our own private, personal practices, but also inviting in this classroom space. And it's so abstract in such a linear teaching world. These kids often struggle with that provocation of what do you notice, and asking them to start having abstract thoughts and giving permission for the pondering of that, the unraveling of that, the noticing of that. And it empowers them so well. Like one of the kids last week said, "Thank you for showing me what an artist could be. I feel that for myself now."
Wow.
Grade 5. Yeah.
Wow. Another thing, I'm going to see if I can share my screen because I have some photos.
Can I say one thing, Karen?
Yeah.
Just para todos ustedes, si quieren hablar en español, Karen y Paula tienen la traducción. ¿Ok? Ellas están también leyendo la traducción. That's it.
It won't let me. I'm trying to share some photos, but it won't let me. Deny. So part of, right now we're working with a school, a Spanish bilingual school called Eugene Cost. And part of the students' process in building vocabulary, we use the arts to help them build that. So the teacher worked on building vocabulary around the monarch butterfly. And we ended up building life cycles of the monarch butterfly and created 5-foot puppets for these students who can actually manipulate these puppets. And we created the caterpillars. So we use the arts as this foundation, this beautiful foundation for creating language skills in grade 4-5 students. And then these students, what will happen, they are actually going to come join us to see Jaime Roja for National Geographic Live. So their experience is actually going from developing language and developing art and putting the two together into seeing a live performance with a National Geographic explorer.
Karen, I think you can now share your screen.
Oh.
I put you as organizer.
Settings just to see if it's yes, down there.
Let's see.
It's I think one of Karen's like system settings. You put your, so we'll just see if we can bypass the deny screen. There.
Boop.
Maybe try it now.
Let's see. No. It won't let me share.
It's just like a system setting. We'd have to restart the laptop, so it's not on your side.
It's on ours. So we really believe, though, in building this idea of building a lived experience before the contextual information is delivered is where we are kind of our jumping off point, starting with students with what do they notice? How is it familiar? How does it connect to them? These open-ended questions where they can really develop their own self and identity within before the application of the contextual information. I'm curious to know, where are you finding your inspiration to work with community? Yeah.
Well, I think in my own experience, the inspiration I have with working with communities is because I found that art in some spaces, or even in some communities here in Mexico, are like very far from all types of art expressions, or even to think about aesthetic is something that you cannot easily find in schools. So for me, that's one of my inspirations, because I think that maybe just very few people, like in the society, have a really good and open access to arts and art expressions, or even to reflect about aesthetic, because like for the majority of the society is like you have like one class maybe in the basic school, like in the, I don't know, like how to say, but in elementary school. And then you maybe cannot have any access or real access to it, because it's not something that you are not permitted to. It's like something that maybe it doesn't have a real connection between a school and maybe, I don't know, a museum or a cultural center or something like that. And well, maybe I'm talking only about the Mexico City, because maybe in other states here in Mexico it's more difficult even that you have access to any cultural spots or type of expressions. And I think that's why I'm very interested in to work with the community, maybe not to to solve a problem, but just to make like an answer to that, because I think the problem is bigger. So maybe we as individuals, maybe we don't have the real answer for it, but to try to creating spaces or to create a dialogue with some communities or our direct community, maybe that has the impact to change a little bit the things. Well, for me, that's my inspiration.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd like to just offer that we were in a meeting today, and it's a similar subject in Canada, in our city where we live. And I think we often feel in our communities, as artists maybe, that we long for deeper connections and more connections to the arts. And we know how important it is. And we think maybe other cities or countries are doing it better, but I think we're all striving for more.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think so. Where does everyone else find their inspiration? Yeah.
Well, I find a lot of power on working together, because in this activity of recognizing ourselves in other ones, I believe, I don't know, like it triggers strength. It triggers this sense of feeling synchronized. I don't know. I feel it like a lot of power, a lot of strength, recognizing ourselves as individuals, but as empathetic communities. I don't know. I think it's really powerful. It's meaningful. All that's been happening. Yes.
Yeah. We also strive to create empathetic communities. So it's interesting hearing what you're talking about, how we find inspiration in Canada, in Calgary, with the same things. Paulina.
I work at university with young students, and I am a little concerned because these young people come from the pandemia time. And I think they are very, very close to screens and nothing else. And it's very complicated because they lose a long period of time, and they didn't go to the museums, public plazas, ¿cómo se dice plazas? Squares? Public squares. They don't go anywhere. So I am very concerned about this, because I realize that they are losing a little the power of imagination. It's very difficult to put down the concepts. They have a lot of ideas in their minds, but they don't touch anything. Just screens. They feel disgusting when they touch some clay or dust. So I am trying to put in contact with this kind of materials. So this is my concern for the moment. No, I try to give them some tool to dream different things very out from the screens.
So my question, because we relate to that a lot, these screens, right? The question of how do we keep students curious with things that are unknown? right? And that's part of, I think, the beautiful aesthetic education way, because to awaken those senses.
Yes.
So the clay, that's amazing that you would bring that into a university class. We bring it in here all the time with kids to, you know, just touch, smell, sculpt, that sort of thing. Yeah.
I think this is a very big area that we have to do, because they lose the sense, and when they try, they are delighted, no? But it's very difficult because I have to my hand with sticky and and so
Yeah.
no, yes.
And like, I have a lot of empathy for kids and adults today who were brought up in a different way than many of us in this room got to experience. And so it's like outdoor time or the mess time is so controlled. They don't know other. They haven't been wired with the other. And so it's our delight to introduce and hold space for knowing that's uncomfortable, and like creativity for many is uncomfortable, but add the fact that they've got no capacity for that mess. Yeah, it's hard. Or screen time, like they have no idea what the screen is doing and how addictive it is. Like, we're adults and we know. Yeah.
We have a grade 6 class in this week, and we are creating masks. So we are actually going to be paper macheing tomorrow. And we know that with these students, it comes along with, I'm sticky. Oh, it's dried. It's, you know, and keeping them in that messy middle to feel the cracking paper mache on their hands, to experience the messiness of it being put on their mask as they build it up. That's where we want them. It's not that end product. It's that beautiful, messy middle that we try to live in and invite, as long as we can, our students, even adults, to live in. Yeah. Anybody else have? Yeah, Brenda, just pop right in.
Sorry, well, I have a question.
Yeah.
I want to know if have you worked or are you currently working with some specific public policies?
Policy. I'm actually just finished my first semester of my MFA in drama and youth and child policy. So in Canada, well, in Alberta right now, the education system is under attack. Our government is very Trump-like as a comparison in just Alberta. So the arts are, you know, the budgets are being cut. Our classrooms don't have time for anything, right? It's math, reading, and science. So what they want is to keep a child at a desk for a 20-minute arts experience. That's how it's built out into the curriculum. We know as artists that art happens all the time, right? It doesn't start and end. It's continuous. So the systems that we work in, we navigate while pushing the barriers. We push hard. And the goal is to affect policy change long term. So we're gathering all of our data so we can go forward to make change. Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Any other questions?
I want to change the conversation a little bit, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, this of the common things and different things that are
Mm.
going into different countries. And with that in mind, having as tools or way of doing things, some elements in common that we have in IMASE and you at the center. Is there difference or something that the tools of aesthetic education, as you have been receiving and your team has received, has changed the way you work with the kids or with the community or something around that area?
Absolutely. I think, because I'm fairly new to aesthetic education, like within the last 8 years, I've entered this world of aesthetic education. And it has changed in empowering community voice, because we start with, what do you notice? Right? So starting from a community voice, rather than telling them what something is, we let them come to their own understanding to provoke their imagination and their curiosity. So I think, you know, with my teachings from Jean Taylor and Terry and the Lincoln Centre and all of that, and of course with Paula, allowing community voice to lead changes everything. Yeah.
Question too, because you say you realize the voice is stronger, no, from the people who works with aesthetic education, but the people realize too, because you realize, but people realize too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In that, yes, like it comes full circle. We realize that, and then the teachers realize that. So there is a domino effect that starts to happen, because we as teaching artists teach or provoke in that way. Suddenly educators notice, and their whole, I mean, we've received feedback about their entire pedagogy being transformed because of aesthetic education, because of the empowering of voice, of choice.
And I think the only way to do that transformation is in the doing. It's really hard to convince someone of that impact if they're not in it, to experience that. And the choice, you know, it's not just being in the room, but a choice to participate in the experience so that they feel what the kids are feeling, that transformation.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. But the people who you work with, there are young people, they are adults, because I mean, for adults, I think it's impossible not to be realized about all the change that it's happening in you. But people, young people, kids, they are realized about all this transformation.
Yes. So
From transformation.
they do acknowledge it. We do, we have conversations pre-experience and post-experience. And the number of students that say, I found my voice, I made new friends, I didn't know I could do A, B, and C, I mean, we hear it week after week, that impact of this is how I'm different.
And we see it or hear it from the teachers. Like last week, a teacher said she was holding back tears because she didn't realize that some of her really low functioning students had the capacity to write more than one word.
Mm.
In that case, a full page, and it was poetry. She had no idea that it was possible for that student. And I think that's the win of the week. Yeah.
So there's something beautiful with the invitation for the students, right? To experience how it feels or smells or moves or has tone. There's something really beautiful in the invitation to embody whatever that is, right? Because there's no right and there's no wrong. It's just a way of being. Yeah. Any other questions?
Imagine that we have for all of us, imagine that we have the opportunity of ask somebody that might be kind of in the same level of understanding of aesthetic education as you are right now, that they are applying it in a complete different context, and in this sense, maybe trying to put in the conversation the difference between this approach and traditional approach of arts in education, if there is or if there is not. So feel free to ask or to share.
Yeah, absolutely. We, there is the learning through the arts, and then there is the embodiment to build the knowledge, right? Two very different approaches, and we use both. For example, do you see that mural back there?
Yes.
That was created by 90 junior high students. And we started out the week by looking at different art, just finding meaning in shape, in colors, in pattern. And from their understanding or looking at it, they were given prompts of, what does love look like? What do I look like in the future? And they were able to create these shapes and patterns in this mural because they found meaning in looking at other art that had a very similar aesthetic to it. And then we have other things like our giant monarch butterflies, where we were using it to build language versus that aesthetic knowing. Right? So I think we really just try to pull it all together, you doing the best embodiment that we can for the student, because our systems don't allow us to go deeper at this time. Yeah.
The system don't allow? What do you mean with that?
There are, as much as we try to push away from my student is going to be graded or marked on something, they always, in their journals, journaling is a very big part of our practice here, where we're asking students to reflect on the day, on an experience. Teachers are still grading them on their journal entries, on their own thinking. So we're in systems that we try to navigate the best we can.
Yeah, and like I guess another example of that system is like a teacher checked off a unit that she has to cover in her curriculum in her conversation with me today. And I get that. She has a checklist of she needs to accomplish certain things to pass these kids in this school year. And where we're coming from is we're probably going to cover all that needs to be covered, but it's not through that linear checklist grading kind of thing. It's this deeper unraveling, and it takes a lot of trust to kind of believe that this 5-day experience, whatever number it is, maybe it's not quantifiable in this week. Maybe it's like an experience that will continue paying dividends to these kids for weeks and years to come. And I think that's the shift that we're talking to. The system wants us to be a checkbox with a grade.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question because I'm listening that you have the same challenges that we have in Mexico. We always think that, oh, this is so Latin America, Argentina and Mexico. But now, as you are telling us, is very similar. And my question would be, which chances do you have to face that system, or at least to get a frame of freedom inside that system? Did you find that?
Yeah, we're definitely not afraid to challenge it because we don't believe in journals being marked. We do believe in writing questions back to the students or a sticky note. So we really try to steer teachers away from that line of thinking. So there's ways of challenging it that can be beautiful and creative. Leaving a note in a child's journal, right? And you almost become pen pals throughout the week, through the visiting. Or you, if you can, get into the teacher's journal and ask questions. So you want to shift, we're trying to shift perspective and thinking out away from a table or desk into movement, into being, into knowing.
Yeah, because it's revolutionary, you know, in these days. Everything that has to do with the body or with movement, as Paulina said, that they are on the screens all the time. So it's a great job to do, no?
Yeah. The other thing that is interesting, I think, as like, you know, Karen and I are coming from a center that we're employed at, where we're employing this arts program to students that are coming from the public education system. And something tricky that Karen's devised is a program that's getting attention and funding from external partners. So that we're getting the funding because they believe in the program that we've proposed, that arts does help learning, does help well-being, does help all these things. And so it's an interesting position that we're in because we're not a private enterprise pushing something out. We're kind of inviting people in, and in that invitation, we're also asking for their funding to support it. And we don't know where it might go, but we're silently pushing out this, like, hey, the arts are really important in education. And this isn't like a new statistic. We know worldwide, we know for millennia that this is important. So we're doing this kind of interesting way of promoting that mentality. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Great.
I think what I've learned is that the power of an invitation in to discover oneself through the arts might be the most powerful invitation one can ever receive and accept. So there's ways of pushing against, the systems and the challenges. And it's really by leading by example to make the shift in how one thinks and feels. Yeah.
And what happens if the students don't want to be invited, for example? If I don't know, if there's some indifference or apathy, if you have an advice, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, keeping the invitation open is key. Eventually, they come in and they may enter the space with a book, but they are dancing, right? So keeping the invitation open and allowing them to enter as who they are, as their authentic self, has helped us create that safety for the student.
So like 2 weeks ago, we had a special school that has like extreme behaviors, ranging from grade 1 to grade 6. And I saw so much success because some of those kids actually stood in the circle and didn't leave. Some of those kids participated in a way that teachers had no idea were possible. And it's just the invitation and not that pressure. As soon as you put too much pressure on, especially extreme behaviors, you'll probably hit a wall and retreat further. So it is a dance, and it's probably, something that's, as more senior artists and space holders, you kind of get a sense for, and we can still make mistakes and push too hard. Even too much eye contact, or just the right amount of eye contact. That's the win.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm curious, as you move through your aesthetic education practice, what seems scary or makes you nervous about it?
Well, I'm a little anxious about uncertainty. Yeah, I'm trying to become patient, and I'm aware that we're figuring it out, but this uncertainty and a lot of things are happening, like a lot, and some things I still cannot like understand rationally in my head, but I'm feeling it, so it's kind of weird, this dancing.
That is a human condition, just so you know. The human brain does not like uncertainty.
Yes, for me, I don't know how to put all these in my curricula, because all the time I work with this kind of activities in very empiric way.
Mhm.
And all the time I am struggling with the people from academic quality, because all the time they are asking me for best rubricas. I don't know the name for rubrica.
Roberts.
Roberts, all the time they are struggling with me because they say, no, you have to evaluate this kind, or how do you put this, how this is, how do you count this kind of knowledge that you say that you are doing, no? So
Mhm.
all the time I'm struggling with that. So I don't know, because for the moment I am fight all the time. I suppose I fight more after this. I don't know what will happen, but I am happy and I am allowed to this. I am willing to do this, but I don't know how. No, this is my problem. How do you put this thing that is very free and with open the mind? How do you put in a very square mentality that is in a formal education? No, this is
Yeah.
my concern for the moment. Another concern.
Yeah. After just being back in a very formal education system, I was a teaching assistant in a class where the teacher just taught. And I thought, and it was a class on creativity, and he just taught. I was like, good Lord, give these kids like 130 students, give them some clay, give them some Lego, give them some parameters to discover what this is. So I think when it's small things, little things at a time, that I think make a change or a shift, right? Because so often in a formal education system, I found they were looking for absolutes within it. And so how do we navigate a student through something that's unfamiliar to get to what they think is an absolute? They need to live it in order to understand it. Yeah. But even I think you just offering the clay and all of that, small things eventually equal big things. Your bravery will outshine the formal. Brenda.
Yes. Well, I agree with Pau, because I don't know how to apply it to take this knowledge to my own field of knowledge, because I'm not a former artist. So I'm also struggling with that, how to apply it, how to make it work.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had teachers come in who they were like, no to the arts. Absolutely not. I'm scared of the arts. I don't do art in my classroom. To suddenly, there's been a shift in them and they've gone back and transformed their classroom into an art gallery or into a working studio. They laid plastic out on the floor and they had paper out covering the desks. And suddenly, you know, this classroom came alive. So I always use the book. Do you know the book Where the Wild Things Are? Okay. It's a beautiful story about this little boy who visits the wild things. And he creates wild rumpus. And it's his expression of all his feelings, the joy, the anger, the happiness. And then he has wild rumpus. And then he calms down and goes back home to where his mom is. But I always say, invite the wild rumpus in. Something that's going to shift, create the mess, but breaking outside of whatever those parameters are for you. Just knock one down, whatever that looks like, but invite the wild rumpus in.
I kind of think that question that Brenda posed, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to apply this to the other thing that you're used to doing. And I think that's coming from a linear perspective of, I need to apply this big abstract bubble shape and put it into over here thing.
Mm.
So I think sometimes if I imagine that, how do you do that? How do I integrate this? It's just in the doing. So just try one thing, like Karen was saying, and maybe, like, I'm not sure what your practice is, if it's being a teacher or something, but like maybe it's standing up to do math for the entire class, or maybe it's tapping, or maybe it's having music on softly or lights different. Like, it's the small doing that stacks the knowing and invites the possibility to do more, because it's from a impulse kind of falling forward and falling into the next action.
Yeah. The awakening of those senses in a different way.
Ooh, what if?
What if? Yeah.
So from what you are telling us, would you say that aesthetic education has to do more with changing ourselves more than trying to change the system?
That's a great question.
Maybe both are true.
Yeah, I'm like, there's truth in both of those things. But for me, starting with myself allowed me to do the thing, right?
Yeah.
To be the thing. So leading by example, making sure I was documenting, the journaling, the writing down of quotes that I overhear. All of these pieces are evidence of something happening. So documenting that evidence through pictures, through numbers, sketching, whatever that looks like for you. Create the evidence so you can say, no, here's the proof. So starting with self and just leading through it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah. Anything? I still have all of my journals from when I started this journey 15 years ago. And I have quotes from children, from teachers. I have journal entries. I have successes and failures. And one of my biggest, I think, reflections was when I try to control it to the absolute, that's when I fail the most. So if I can just let go and let it breathe, it becomes.
Yeah, I kind of think about like the vessel that we are. We've so many lived experiences. And so many of our things in life are so formulaic. You go to the fridge, you pull out the ingredients, you make a thing. And so you're kind of leaning on prior knowledge to know how to do the exercise of making a meal. And maybe the arts and learning are the same thing. If you just do those small steps of listening to the nudges of the impulse to do something and building on that, you have the inherent evidence of creativeness, right? And one act proves to yourself that you're doing a thing, a creative thing. And it's so that it's lived into being at that point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's an important moment, I think, in creativity. It's that, like Karen was saying, the control of that is where we stop being the creative to make something new that was never there before.
Yeah.
Mm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beautiful thing about an aesthetic practice. You're making something that was never there before, right? Any other questions or curiosities? I'm curious. I have a question for you. Tomorrow, what's one thing that you can do differently in your day from an aesthetic approach? Just one thing. I'm curious about what that is. And we want to hear them. Yeah, so
I think for me, cooking is some sort of aesthetic discovery I have had in the last few weeks. I do not like cooking. I don't like it anytime. But I think one of the places that I am using this aesthetic approach for things is like in that side, because I'm not trying um, to control anything. I'm just like, okay, it's gonna happen, like whatever it's gonna happen. And I think it's kind of beautiful also to construct a relationship with food and with all the cooking in this other meaningful way, like to tasting things and to smelling the stuff and to be aware, like really aware of all the things that are going on when you're cooking. And I think that's my aesthetic space for experimenting things nowadays.
Perfect.
nice. I relate to the hate cooking. I'll join you in that tomorrow.
Se vale preguntar en español.
Today I realized myself walking to my work, and I had an idea about to write a book with all the places that we sometimes we are stay in this place, because I don't know if it happened to you, but sometimes you say, when I was younger, I be in that flat, or I be in that home in this park. So I try to recover a lot of these stories from different people and to write it. But after that, I start to asking me, what? And after that, I say, okay, this is what. And the other question that I have appear in my mind was, how? No? And I start to writing all the time this question, and I say, this is image. This is aesthetic education, because I am walking so peaceful to my work, and I start to thinking all the time. No? So this is the thing that I am working.
That's amazing. That openness to receive it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Anybody else want to share? one thing that's shifting that you're going to do differently or already maybe doing differently?
You can write it on the chat if you want.
I think I will do differently, allowing myself to write with no judgment. Having from this aesthetic approach of just letting things happen and done, and then make the connections and reflect and question, but without judging. I'm in that. I'm working on that.
Yeah.
I do a similar gift to myself because as a drawer, I don't want to edit the amount of times I connect with drawing, because sometimes that judgment is the thing that keeps me from doing it more often, right? So if I just commit to, it doesn't matter what it looks like, it doesn't have to be good, it's not for production or the product, it is just for me to experience. And that keeps me in my creative flow. It's permission.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think, and I think this might be the case, that silence is not because we are like apart, but it's much more also that because we are thinking and putting ideas together. And sometimes we cannot make the questions or put the words on place, but we are, something's going on. And so I do appreciate that. I feel that that is happening.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that. And at the same time, I don't want to force the conversation. So let's go as far as we can, or cut it as soon as we feel.
Yeah, Brenda.
Yes, I want to share something that connects me with Tere in this sense of working or expressing without judgment. And I would like to connect with my family and to share myself with them, because sometimes I tend to be like a loner. I don't know.
Yeah.
This sharing myself and expressing without judgment by speaking or maybe cooking, it's a way. Maybe.
Yeah, I think that creativity is the request of putting those inside thoughts out. And as soon as we do that, the judgments can come through, whether it's your writing, if it's dancing, if it's cooking, the judgment can come out. So I often like to share with our creative space that we acknowledge that critic, that judger is out and is wild. And it's the one that keeps us safe so that we don't get ridiculed in embarrassment from our sharing a thought, sharing a word, sharing a piece of art.
Yes, in this sense, well, I have a question, because in Nimase, we are working as a community. We have this connection. We are all together on the same boat. But what happens when we
go out?
Yes.
Yeah. It's brave.
It is brave. But you know who your community is. Just because it ends doesn't mean it's over. And I think we get stuck in this all the time of working and learning with a group of people, and then it ends. And so we stay individual, siloed. like alone. But we have friends that we can call, or other people, teachers, students. We're surrounded by community. And all we have to do is invite them to answer questions to make us feel together. Whatever that looks like. But
Yeah, I mean, it's actually
It's
really a
hard.
profound statement, because it's so true. I mean, what has probably stopped every creative in time is just feeling othered and scared, and the judgment and all those things. So a part of our practice is to start and start again. And then that community of support. So as an artist, part of my community of support is being a teaching artist. Part of my support is having friends that are in the arts, so that I, share with people around the world and feel like I'm not alone. So, it's the building blocks of community, and it's really necessary. I think as creatives, we feel deeper and more sensitive, and sometimes it can be the strike that stops us from continuing forward, because we don't have a community of support for ourselves.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, likewise.
Wow. So I'm enjoying this. How do you feel? Do you feel that this will be a good time to allow ourselves to be independent alone for a moment, and maybe writing down a reflection in our bitácora? Or do you want to continue? Have another question? You have another curiosity? Something else that you want to share? I do want to thank you, both of you, Karen and Paula, because for Imase, it's good to know that we are not alone, that we can make a phone call or send a message, and doesn't matter the distance, the language, the culture. We can be with somebody else to share, to talk, to make questions, to reflect on realities, and just keep going and make more meaningful our work. And so I do want to thank you for being there and being so open to talk without any structure, like you are going to is this and these are the questions, and that you did create a dialogue with us.
Thank you for asking. It's been a gift. It's been a gift for us. Thank you. Thank you.
We can share our Instagrams with you, so we can continue, maybe. Hey, we can put it in the chat, or an email afterwards.
Yes.
What's the best way?
Well, if you can put it on the chat so they can, we all can copy. I think I follow you.
Yes, you do.
I don't know if Imase follow you.
I think so.
I think so too, but yeah.
What's yours?
I don't know.
Paula's looking up her handle.
It's been too long.
Yes. And yeah. And thank you for working with Mexican communities over there.
Well, in exchange for that, we'll come and see you in Mexico soon.
Yeah, yes, let's do it.
That's right. And you can come see us. It's only -21.
Well,
Maybe-
I already have another sweater, another jacket.
Thank you, everybody. That was great.
Thank you, everyone. Have a beautiful night.
Thank you, Karen and Paula.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Mm.